yeah. It happened last year as well, where for the finals for the past couple of days, like Pig was there, and it ruined them for a week. It just absolutely ruined them. But you know,
They wanted to go back to streaming like after DreamHack, and they were like, guys, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
need to like get my health back in order for a little bit. But we are going to be continuing OlimoLeague May 2021 monthly finals here with the first of a best of fives. Here in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner of Light Shade LE, we have the red Protoss player coming down from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. DPG, he is Zest.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the South Korean Terran player. He's yellow, representing a Freak of Freaks. It is KeeN.
Mate. And I don't want to say it's like the old like staple versus the up-and-comer, because Zest has kind of been at the top of OlimoLeague for a while here, but yet if you want to go way back, I think Zest only really started regularly signing up in early Legacy, or yeah, around 2017, I want to say ish.
Oh yeah, if you recall, back in the day when OlimoLeague was first a thing, the Kesper players didn't compete in it. They didn't play in the weeklies. You know, they were busy with Pro League and GSL. Yeah, exactly. So this was, you know, dominated by some of these other players like Patience and Ryung and KeeN. I'm pretty sure KeeN in the first like quote unquote year of OlimoLeague, the finalists, like the top players, actually got like graphics made for them, like
they
portraits.
They did.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure KeeN was one of them.
You could print it. Yeah, you could actually get those printed out. I'm not sure if those are available anymore.
I'll always remember that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not something that they did every year. I think it's, but for that first year, it was pretty sick.
Well, yeah, I mean, as OlimoLeague definitely grew a lot, you're going to be fitting a lot more players into that graphic.
Yeah. I think the way they did it was, they had one for each month of the year, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Well, they also, I think, repeated based on, like, how many of the monthly finals they won, I want to say.
Yeah. Maybe Oli can chime in or something. She's listening, but yeah, that was really cool. That's really cool.
I know she's in the lobby. Just type in observer chat real quick.
Uh-oh.
The adept will live, but the adept will not go in. Might delay the natural base by a bit, but only a little bit.
Yeah.
For even longer.
Yeah, he wants the second SCV. Can he get it? Up!
Might be able to focusing a bit more on the Marines, and we'll shade out right before that adept goes down. But his poker still isn't done yet. Like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, it does get cancelled. I mean, in the end, KeeN will finish up this CC, but it was delayed a little bit by that adept. So yeah, nicely done there by Zest, especially because he has kept his adept alive so far. Oh, more. Oh god, he wants more.
But is he gonna get some more? The answer is maybe. He gets a good scout on KeeN's base. Sees that 1-1-1 on the way. Not a lot of damage being dealt, but still, getting the scout just puts Zest's mind at ease. Speaking of putting your mind at ease,
Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So a couple of things, right? As you were saying, Zest, after that Twilight Council, we assumed, hey, it's a Twilight Council opening. This is probably for Blink, right? We've seen this time and time again. Blink Stalker openings in PvT. Zest himself has done it, but he is spicing things up, mate. But again, we gotta reiterate, Zest is upset, mate. You know, he just lost to KeeN in GSL.
Hate that he did. Oh man, he is returning to favor so hard right now. Thankfully, KeeN is getting a Raven out, so these DTs shouldn't be causing too much trouble, but even still.
Yeah, exactly. Zest is trying to pull a fast one on KeeN. The War Prism is done. He's going to be going across the map. By the time it gets across the map, he will be able to morph in a couple of those DTs. Meanwhile, KeeN himself, it was really cool because when Zest scouted, KeeN was making a Widowmine, and then as soon as the Adept was dealt with, then KeeN cancelled it and started that tech lab, and then got the Raven out.
Yeah, for all Zest knows, KeeN is going for a sort of a mine drop, which is why he's patrolling a couple of stalkers by the mineral lines. But KeeN, one step ahead.
Yeah, exactly. War Prism does get in, does get spotted by the Marine. The DTs have been revealed, and in should come that Raven.
Yeah, but it is only a single Raven for now. That auto turret is going to be doing a lot to keep these DTs at bay. I do have to worry a little bit for when Zest starts splitting up his DTs.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, those DTs got so low, but Zest was able to just barely pick them up. Thankfully, again, for KeeN, the DTs didn't deal too much damage, to be honest. For the most part, he was prepared. It looked like he may be overwhelmed because the DTs were killing the Marines, but in the end, KeeN held.
That he did. Archon's going to be a little bit more annoying, especially while KeeN is still building up a bit of an army. But again, should be too much of a cause of concern. KeeN should be able to get into his timing push without too much trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the DT was dealt with. There was some friendly fire, but thankfully, the majority of the SCVs stayed alive. But if those Archons go towards that natural base, like, they can start one-shotting those SCVs.
That they can even start two-shotting these SCVs in the main base. But hasn't quite got the opportunity to do that. Zest needs to be so much more careful now. KeeN has the Cyclone, and it does get locked on! And the Viking is looking to take that out! Doesn't quite get it.
Feels bad, man. KeeN, he burned a scan for that kill, and he just didn't get it. 1 or 2 more shots would have been enough. But Zest escapes with everything.
He escapes with everything. He forces KeeN to waste his orbital energy, his Raven energy as well. There'll be no disables or anti-armor missiles coming out from KeeN for quite some time.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, I guess thankfully KeeN didn't take too much economic damage and he can transition from here. But I feel like Zest, he's pretty happy with what he was able to accomplish, right? Like, he traded very well.
Oh, he traded extremely well. And while all this is going on, he just happily got his third base. He knew he was keeping KeeN back. He's already saturating it. He's already saturated it. And now he's getting to the mid-game macro explosion that Zest likes to do. He's getting 7 gateways. His Immortals on the way. All of his upgrades are coming out one by one. It's looking terrifying. But for now, it is still a gateway army. So not unkillable for KeeN.
Yeah. Thankfully, like, there's no Robotics Bay, right? There's no Templar Archives, like, there's no massive form of AoE. But Zest, like, he is ramping up. As you said, because he's fully saturated on 3 bases, like, he's ready to just focus on his production. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's ready to focus on his army. Meanwhile, KeeN, he's still, you know, taking his own third base. We're gonna need something like, I would love to see, you know, a Ghost Academy for EMPs or something else here, because, again, Zest is gonna start getting terrifying here, getting ready to go into those Archons and charge lots.
Yeah, Ghost Academy is, I feel like something you always kind of need as a Protoss player. Or as a Terran player, sorry, when you're playing TvP.
Yeah.
Even if your opponent doesn't really go for High Templar, you throw down an EMP and get a couple of, and get one good anti-armor missile, and that Protoss army is disappearing in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it's one of those things where EMP is kind of like the AoE of the splash damage of
pretty
Terran.
much. Yeah,
just getting rid of all those shields,
but only in TvP.
Yeah, only in TvP. Oh god, but here we go. Zest is here. He has his entire army. He has a decent amount of those charge lots, morphing in all these DTs for Archons.
This is going to be very beefy for Zest. We'll see how well KeeN is able to position his army.
I'm worried, mate. He's going for a drop, mate. He needs everything at home to defend, or at least I feel like he does.
Yeah, we'll see if KeeN maybe knows something that we don't mind. Get decent connections, but definitely could have been a lot worse here for Zest. Anti-armor missile, unfortunately, not quite getting the entire army, but it does coat a couple of these very high-tech units. This CC, unfortunately, will go down, and the Zealots should just about secure the offensive for Zest.
Yeah, exactly. Fun fact, that drop actually turned around and came back home, which, I mean, if only it was at home or ready to defend, because there's just not enough here for KeeN. Nice anti-armor missile, but I don't think he has the army to really push through.
Yeah, it's definitely too little too late at this point. GG is called, and Zest is angry. He's taking game number 1, and he's looking to take the next 2.
And mate, I'm just waiting for the proxy, okay? I'm waiting for KeeN to start proxying and start memeing it up on the map. But as you said, very strong start there from Zest.
It very much is. That wasn't anything too fancy either. I mean, sure, he went for the very early Dark Shrine, but aside from that, he just played out a pretty standard game, made use of his Archons to keep KeeN back, and then Zest did Zest things. One of the few Protoss players still out there now who is dedicated to the Swarm Toss style in PvT.
Yeah, very commonly we see players like open up even with fast robotics debate just for those fast Colossus, right? And, you know, expand very quickly, rely on Colossus to defend early on, and then work into this like big strong force and big strong attack. But yeah, we saw none of that there from Zest, and unfortunately KeeN didn't have any spotters on the map. He didn't see the army move out. He thought he was free to drop. As we saw, he sent 2 full medevacs across the map, and they didn't get to do anything because when they got halfway across, he turned them back around. He's like, oh my god, I need everything at home.
And he turned them around at just the turning point of those fights. I mean, if he got the flank out maybe a little bit earlier, I think it could have definitely gone either way. But by that point, the main army of KeeN was already halfway in the grave.
That it was, man. It was already looking over for KeeN at that point. Ooh, but hopefully he's able to dust himself off, you know, as we are getting ready for game number 2 in this best of 5 series, and I am pleasantly surprised. Right? This is why I love the Korean scene. They are unafraid. They're unafraid at all of some of these other unorthodox maps. We're going to be loading in to Blackburn.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of get that when the players themselves are a little bit unorthodox. I mean, I guess Zest and KeeN aren't as crazy as somebody like, say, maybe Patience or Coffee for their respective races, but still, they march to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah, and what I will say is that when it comes to KeeN, I still don't know where to place him, right? Like, he's still relatively fresh in the scene again, and what is his style, right? Back in the day, I remember he used to whip out mech as well. His best matchup was TvT. He could take it to players like Innovation and Maru in a TvT, but nowadays... I don't know.
The first Code S that Maru won, I think KeeN straight up beat him in 2-0 in macro games. And then in the rematch, Maru just decided to proxy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh man, it's all flooding back to me. But speaking of flooding, here we are on Blackburn LE, the map that falls apart as the players fall apart. I think that's a little, maybe a little too harsh, but... Over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player coming out from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. DPG. He is Zest.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the South Korean Terran player. He is red, representing Afrika Freaks. It is KeeN.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. But yeah, that's... I love how you remember that, because that's also what I remember KeeN for. Like, again, back in the day, and even nowadays, like, Zaun is a good example where there are some players that are relatively solid, but they have, like, specific matchups where they really shine. And for Zaun, currently, that's PvP, and for KeeN, that was TvT back in the day.
Yeah, but I feel like for Zaun and KeeN, I guess the weakness was that as solid as they really were, they had a bit of a tendency to be a little inflexible, and I mean that's why they typically weren't favored when it came to the rematch.
Yeah, exactly. And KeeN was a very solid player, but he was never a champion, right? He was never...
Yeah.
People didn't look at him as one of the top of his races. Maybe at the top in a matchup, but just in a matchup. So yeah, hopefully he's able to bring it back here. Again, he's already beaten Zest once today. Can he do it again? Bear in mind though, this is a best of 5, so it's a little bit more difficult to get a cheeky win out. Like, more often than not, the more solid player comes out on top. Unless you're Maru.
Well.
But that's why we need proxies, okay? That's why.
It really is, and honestly, I thought that Blackburn would have been the map we got it on. I think it's especially very, very good for factory and starport proxies especially, but yeah, for now they are just playing on a bit more of a standard game. Gonna keep the shenanigans for later in the series.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we are in a much longer series, so there's plenty of room for something like that. Meanwhile, KeeN does go in for a bit of a scout, and...
Just barely out of range. Thought the slow zone would actually kill the Reaper, but it was fast enough.
Same. I was really worried for that Reaper. Thankfully, it managed to escape. Meanwhile, Zest already invaluable scouting information here with his Adept as he sees the very first Marauder, as KeeN is going for a very fast concussive shells.
That's what I like to see. Sees Marauder. I believe he started Tech Lab researching as well, so yeah, this was exactly what's coming his way.
Yeah, I have to imagine that originally KeeN would want to go across the map with like 3 Marauders and push, but because he got scouted, this may change things and we may see him be a little bit more passive with them, and not overcommit because he knows that he got scouted.
Which is, I mean, definitely a possibility for Terran.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, if you don't quite get him with the 3 racks, then you're going to be behind a bit, but you can still totally go for a timing attack later on.
Exactly, as we see KeeN, he's throwing down more racks. Meanwhile, he tries to break in with his Reaper, but he doesn't get in. That means he does not scout the Dark Shrine.
Well, I'm hoping he remembers what happened last game. Because his Raven is going to be much more delayed this time.
I mean, there's no starport.
No starport at all. He needs to wait for that factory to finish up, and then he needs to build the starport, and then he needs to like swap add-ons around, and then he needs to start producing Raven, and Raven's take a while to make.
Really, what he would do is he would start the medevac, and then he has to cancel the medevac because like, he's going for a 3x opening. Like this hits with like 2 medevacs ideally, but Zest, he's already here.
And KeeN muled. Like, KeeN muled.
No.
KeeN will have 1 scan.
No! Oh god, he has no scans right now. Here come the DTs.
1 scan, but oh no, like.
KeeN, please. He is. All right, here come the DTs. 1 into the natural, 2 into the main base. There's going to be 1 scan available. It's not available yet.
But even then, he has 1 scan. He has it. There we go. That has been popped. Thankfully, he did get the eBay a little bit earlier on. So at least the natural mineral line will be able to get some detection out. I say that. Yo, that turret ain't done yet.
It's not done yet, mate. And combat shields was just denied. DT here wreaking havoc in the main base. 1 scan is used. The DT will go down, but there's still 1 more DT in the Warp Prism.
There is. That's just waiting out this scan. Funnily enough, it's kind of like waiting out a battery overcharge.
It really is. With this, it looks like KeeN has defended, but 8 SCVs went down. More importantly, again, the Tech Lab was killed and combat shields was denied.
Completely reset. KeeN isn't even gonna hit with all of the units he needs because he's forced to make a Viking now. Yeah, behind on the workers, the upgrades, Zest is sitting real comfortable. Meanwhile, behind all this, he's actually grabbing that Robo Bay.
Yeah.
Get 1 Colossus out. There's so little for him to worry about.
Exactly. Like, again, this push is so delayed. As you said, ideally, 2 medevacs come out, right? But he's forced to get 1 Viking because of the Warp Prism. Ideally, you hit with all your upgrades. I guess Stim was delayed as well. My mistake. I thought he already had it. Oh my god.
Yeah. He only got Concussive Shell.
That's crazy.
Wow. All right. KeeN, he's got to channel his inner Ryung, his inner Pult, his inner Time, every single one of these positional Terran players and get the best possible engagement against Zest, because otherwise, I'm not optimistic at all.
I kind of want KeeN to take the gold. Not gonna.
Yeah, honestly.
Like,
there will be a way for him to get back economically.
Yeah, like Blackburn is a map with gold bases, and you can take advantage of that. Of course, it's a risk reward sort of thing. This gold base is vulnerable to harassment. But again, like in this kind of situation, if you're KeeN, I feel like taking the gold may be necessary.
Yeah, I suppose maybe he doesn't quite want to grab the gold without making sure he can defend it, without making sure that it's a planetary instead of an orbital. But yeah, as you said, not taking the gold is putting him down even more than he previously was. Zest sees this, by the way.
Yeah, he does have an observer right here above the army. He sees the army move out and also come back home.
He's trying to deal with the DT.
And he will deal with the DT, and yo, Zest is sitting so pretty that he's fully saturated on 3 bases, and he takes the gold.
Remember when we said that taking the gold would be a way for KeeN to come back economically? Well, not anymore.
Yeah, Zest
and both players have a gold base.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, that's good advice. I should do that.
All right, here we go. We do have a drop on the way. As a reminder, Zest did see the army move out with his observer, but he doesn't have anything here. Never mind, he warps in a massive wave of stalkers.
Yeah, he had an observer nearby. I wasn't quite sure if he was able to see that, but apparently he was. That observer was in stationary mode.
Oh no. Oh god, we just see a blink, but KeeN is just barely able to escape with his drops. He does get back home.
And now the question on I think everybody's mind is, to what end, though? He goes home, he keeps his army alive, but I mean, the window where he had a better army than Zest has definitely passed. He's gonna be perpetually behind when it comes to the economy.
It's one of those things where, like, sure, KeeN kept his army alive, but he needs to deal damage. He needs to drop somewhere. He needs to do something in the main, at the 4th, at the 3rd. He needs to do something here. Finally, he gets rid of this observer, so when he moves out, Zest won't have eyes on. Never mind.
Yep.
Another observer shows up.
Anti-Starduck.
Oh no. And soon, Zest's army is just going to walk across the map. Quickly looking at what KeeN has here. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy, so he won't have EMPs. He does have a decent amount of tanks. You know, set up defensively. If he fights at home, he can take a favorable engagement.
Yeah, and honestly, those are very nice positions on the tanks, really limiting the surface area for these Zealots, and just making sure that they're that much harder for the Colossus to engage into. Fighting count is getting higher and higher as well. Oh! They take out the War Prism.
Oh god, he gets distracted by the Zealots. Meanwhile, here comes the main army. You know what? Those tanks, they don't have anything to protect them as 2 tanks immediately go down. There are 3 at the natural, though.
But Zest is not looking to go into natural anytime soon. He just wants to wreak havoc and cause sheer chaos here by the 3rd base. Or apparently he wants to chase down the army. Huh, alright then.
Yeah, why not? As he does chip away at the army of KeeN. Thankfully for KeeN, honestly, his 3rd base was left alone. Like, his economy was left untouched after that attack. He was able to push Zest away, and now Ghost Academy is done. Ghosts are popping out for those EMPs. He was also able to keep the majority of his drop alive, or at least the medevacs.
Yeah, medevacs are, funnily enough, probably one of the most key units right now in TvP. Now, you don't want to overmake them, but you do need a way to get some damage done across the map and ferry the parts of your army that aren't going to be too useful defending
Man,
I'm getting some kind of value.
Yeah, I'm getting deja vu. KeeN, he picks up for a drop. Meanwhile, the army is just outside his base. It's so risky to go for a drop right now. He needs everything. Okay, he turns around. He has everything here at home. Is it going to be enough?
I think it's going to be a question. Doesn't quite have the best position to engage into this. It is such a good choke point for these Colossus. Decent choke as well for the tanks, but the tanks are gone.
Tanks are gone, mate.
Not.
Yeah, there are only Marines and Marauders. Scratch that, only Marauders remaining here. GG gets called, and Zest takes game number 2.
Already getting the match point. However, KeeN won in the GSL qualifiers. Zest seems like he's figured him out.
As I said it before, man. Zest is upset, mate. He's angry, mate. That's why the DTs are coming out, mate. Oh god, because honestly, the DTs have just done very well for him in both games. Like, sure, in this game more so than in game 1, but like denying the upgrades, you know, getting all those resources, all those scans wasted. Like, oh my god.
And just like that, we're going to what potentially could be the final map of our of this best of 5 semifinal. Do you have another TvP waiting for us in the lower half of the bracket? That being Percival versus Creator. And honestly, however the finals, whoever ends up in the finals, I think it's going to be a very, very hype match. I'm trying to avoid using the word story, but I can't really think of a better one.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, right now in game 3, this is where KeeN needs to turn things around, mate. This is it. This is his last chance. Otherwise, he's done. He is out of OlimoLeague May Finals.
As a comeback potentially a month from now into the July finals, or June finals, but by then, OlimoLeague may just be drastically different.
Maybe.
Potentially. As we continue our series here on 2000's Atmosphere, LE. Wait, what K-pop was around back then? I think is a little bit more fitting. Can't really think of any. In the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner map, we have the pink Protoss player finally played his color. He is coming out from the land of Korea, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. He is the pink Protoss player, Beetle, also known as Zest.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the South Korean Terran. He's yellow, representing a freak of freaks, and this is it. This is his last chance here in OlimoLeague. Oh my god, as he almost loses an SCV, we have KeeN.
Super unfortunate. I know we definitely have a lot of KeeN fans here in the chat. Princess cheering him on a little earlier. Mio Mike has come, looking for that KeeN comeback. But he's in a lot of trouble, to say the least.
He is. Unfortunately, but we'll see if he can bring it back here. I'm a little bit disappointed. You know, it's game 3, and we don't see a proxy here from KeeN. Meanwhile, Zest, he wants that. He was looking for an opportunity to dive on that SCV.
That doesn't quite get it. I will say though, this probe alone has already caused a lot of problems for KeeN, forcing that unnatural position on the barracks. It'd be much harder to wall off.
Exactly. It's gonna have to reposition that later on. Meanwhile, an interesting opener here. I feel like I said this last time, but we've seen this become a little bit more popular, where the Terran player actually skips their initial Reaper, goes for a Marine instead.
What is he spending the gas on? Light gets an earlier factory, and he's getting a reactor on top of that barracks. Could it be Marine tank Banshee?
It's possible, mate. It's possible. Again, it's one of those things where KeeN, he's kind of giving up early scouting information. Thankfully for him, like, there's not too much going on. Of course, we do have a Twilight Council opening. Mate, we've seen it 2 games. Are we going to see it a 3rd time? Are we going to see DTs?
Might as well, I think, at this point. I know Zest. He's probably thinking, if it ain't broke, don't break it.
So I'm hoping that we do see a Raven first from KeeN, just because of how prevalent DTs have been. It would be a nice way to adapt to how Zest has been playing.
He's gonna make a medevac first, isn't he? Like,
I hope not, mate. He may be going for like a Helen drop. It's possible.
Yeah, he's reactoring them out. Oh, Blink!
It's Blink!
It's Blink!
It's not a Dark Shrine!
He's finally switching things up in this PvT.
Thankfully, and I like this because, again, like, KeeN, he's opening up in a way where, again, I imagine he's gonna go for a medevac for that Hellion drop, and he's not gonna be punished for not going for a Raven first. You know, he's calling Zest bluff. You are not gonna go for DTs, and he does not.
Standing his ground, but at the same time, Blink Stalkers would definitely deal with the Hellion drop a lot better. Oh, I say Hellion drop. It's actually going to be Hellions and a Mine drop.
Yeah, interesting. He just has his Hellions here on the ground, waiting for an opportunity to dive in. Looks like that medevac is just going to chill here with the Widow Mines instead. And we'll see if KeeN can get some damage here, as the wall's not a wall. Oh,
but yeah, now it is. At poor probe. That hero's death blocking these Hellions who are coming in.
It does. Meanwhile, medevac is coming across the map, and right now the Hellions are doing a good job at distracting these Stalkers.
Yeah, he really does not want to allow that wall to break open. Having even a single Hellion in the natural domain base is massive damage. Speaking of which,
Hellions do get dropped in, but the Stalkers were in position. Oh my god, almost every single one of these Hellions get taken out before they get into the mineral line. Yeah,
one probe will fall to to the Hellions.
Yeah.
And then to the Widow Mines. Very good connection, honestly, but not quite enough to take out the Warp Prism.
Exactly, like that was some really nice target fire there, making sure he prioritizes the Warp Prism. Maybe he'll be able to snipe this later on. At the same time, KeeN is going for another drop, another 2 Widow Mines headed into the main base, and there's nothing here.
There is not even any detection out.
Oh my god, what's the reaction? What's the reaction? It's not there!
It's just a little delayed, a little too delayed.
God, okay, so far so good for KeeN. 9 probes go down, but at the same time, Zest does blink into the main base.
But is the damage going to be in any way proportional? Already snipes a Raven, which is pretty huge for the Protoss player. And it's mostly just a handful of Marines left to really deal with the Stalker Warp Prism. That Warp Prism has remade most of his shields. Will go down, but not before finishing up one more warp in. This could very much be it. Like,
yeah,
KeeN is losing every single SCV.
This is far too much damage. I was hoping because KeeN dealt so much damage to that Warp Prism, maybe he could snipe it when it gets across the map. And he did snipe it, but a little bit too late there. And everything goes down. The Stalkers are free reign. GG gets called.
And Zest, he reached in, he grabbed KeeN's heart, and now he's holding it up. The revenge has been met.
Exactly. GG. KeeN may have beaten Zest in the GSL qualifiers an hour ago, but Zest was able to redeem himself here. He did dominate KeeN with that 3-0, and Zest moves on to the grand finals.
Indeed he will. Where he's going to be facing either Percival in another PvT or Creator in what will be our first PvP of the evening. But till then, we're going to see who that's going to be.